lovers, and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Geckos, off Academy, and in Nob Hill.
RC Sports Complex is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. Do you have the need for speed? Come on out to RC Sports Complex for some adrenaline-packed race action. You can bring your own vehicle, rent a ready-to-race unit, or purchase one from the great selection that we have in store. RC Sports Complex offers an addictive, technical, and fast-paced outdoor course for 10-scale electric buggies, cars, and trucks. Visit RC Sports Complex in Rio Rancho. All American Waste Removal of New Mexico provides compactors, roll-off containers, dumpsters, waste management, recycle services, and waste removal cleanup for home, construction, and business. We have trash containers varying in sizes from 2 yards to 40 yards. If we don't have the size you need, we'll get it. We're a locally owned and operated waste management company, currently offering waste management and trash services in Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, Bernalillo, Sandoval, and Valencia County areas. Let 60-plus years of combined garbage removal and trash pickup experience work for you.
Yeah, for the last 2 weeks.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Patrick Johnson, head football coach at Trisco Heritage. And Patrick, thanks for coming on the Steve Davis Show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Steve.
Well, I think I talked to you before we went on the show on the air, and there's excitement. I mean, is that the word, excitement about your district? You control your own destiny, but it's kind of neat that everybody's talking about your district.
It is, it took to the end of the year for everybody to start talking about us, especially in a positive light, but it is exciting. We're excited to play for the district championship. Albuquerque High, tough team, but at least we hold our destiny in our own hands. So if we win, we win. If we lose, well, we don't talk about that. So.
Well, I think, I mean, we can go back and we had a great conversation. Your district was, going into district, I think the word is parity among your district, as and I can speak for myself. When you win, when you beat Valley, I thought you were going to win the district.
Right.
Okay, then West Mesa beats you, so then I thought West Mesa's going to win the district, and then then Valley makes a comeback. They're on a roll a little bit, and a great game. And when you played Valley, I mean that couldn't have been. I mean, from a spectator's standpoint, excitement, a lot of scoring, a lot of action, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, the Valley game was a tough game.
That was the first district game of the year.
It was our first district game. It's, since I've been at Trisco, it's the Valley Trisco game's always been a pretty tough fought game.
It seems like it's always like the first game.
It is. It's been that way the last 5 years. Valley got us the first 2 years. I was the head coach at Trisco. We're lucky enough we got them last 3 years. But I didn't think we as a team thought we had the district won, but we hadn't lost a district game in 2 years. So I think maybe that played into it. We played West Mesa. They had a great game against us, and they beat us. But we talked as a team. All we could do was to try to keep on winning, and hopefully it proved out that if we won our next 2 games.
Just take care, just worry about ourselves.
Right, worry about ourselves and see what happens at the end of the year. And now we have the opportunity to play for district.
Something that you brought to my attention, and one, I want to congratulate you on a great coaching career at Trisco Heritage. I mean, you've won the district the last 3 years.
2 years.
Last 2 years. Last 2 years, and have a chance to win it 3 years in a row.
Right.
But you've been in the playoffs the last 5 years.
You have last 4 years.
Last 4 years.
Right.
But that's an accomplishment. That's something that every coach dreams of, is they can just get into the state tournament, and that's what your goals are about.
Right. We start right after the season. We start talking about next year, district champs, and that's the first step into going into the playoffs in our district. We were lucky enough my first 2 years that we were district runner-ups. We got into the state playoffs, but usually it takes winning the district championship out of our district to get in. So we talk about that. We take a lot of pride in being district champs. So that's the expectation every year when we start out is being district champs. This team's no different. That was the expectation, and that's the expectation this Friday.
Well, the attitude, I mean, let's step back a little bit. A team coming into the year, a lot of question marks, and I don't mean to, and I said this earlier, I don't mean to offend any of your players, but you've always had like an impact player or a go-to player. Like last year, your players said, we're going to make it to the district, we're going to win the district, and this year was more, a work in progress, if I could say that in a way.
Right. We started 10 new starters on offense at the beginning of this year. We're a young offense. I think, they're coming into their own. I think next year, the players that people don't look at as impact players next year, and the rest of this season could be those impact guys. They're kind of taking turns right now, which I like. We're more balanced. We have 2 or 3 guys that are carrying the load instead of 1 guy. But we are young. Defense, I think we have 5 or 6 seniors, which we knew that would be the strength coming into this year, and they kind of carried us, even though we didn't win pre-district games. We played Oñate, it was 14-6. Our defense really stepped up. Now our offense is starting to come along, and so I like our chances this Friday. I think we'll be the most complete team that we've been all year, and if we're lucky enough to make the playoffs, I think we could surprise some people.
Well, but you're coming against a team, Albuquerque High. Albuquerque High is on a mini. All of a sudden they're starting to win some games, and they're scary. They got some guys that can get some things done.
They are. I've seen them play 3 or 4 times this year. They're not the biggest team, but they're well coached. They're very athletic. They're a big play team.
That's what I'm saying. They're an impact. Right. You can play a perfect game. Similar to, I always go back to the Trisco Heritage Clovis game that I did. It was like, Clovis in the first half was just, in my opinion, was like winning the game. Everything's going their way. They get an interception before half. Second half, they're going to come down and probably put the game away. And then in the second half, 2 plays, and then the next thing you know, you guys win the game. Right,
and and that's the thing about Albuquerque High. They have some impact players that can score, anywhere on the field. If you're not playing disciplined football on the defensive side of the ball, they will do that to you. And they have a motor. That team has a real motor. They're, like I said, they're a well-coached team with, I don't know how many seniors they have, but I'll tell you what, they really come out to play.
Well, I think the word is they're competitive. I mean, they got a mindset that they have a little bit of chip on their shoulder. I mean, they got to have a lot of things happen. One, they got to beat you.
Right.
Then they got to have Valley lose. I mean, there's a lot of things that has to happen for them to win the district.
Right. I know Valley and Highland, I believe they play Thursday night. We'll all be there seeing what happens in that game. And then, I think Albuquerque High, they play with a lot of pride. I see it when I've watched them play. And I've talked to, my team about that pride that I see from Albuquerque High that our teams have always played with. We're playing for what everybody else is, that district championship and going to the playoffs. And Albuquerque High this year, they're just an impressive little bunch. So,
my word is they're scrappy and they're scary. I mean,
right.
and like I said, and there's a little bit of a rivalry there. I mean, the whole thing there. I mean, probably all these things I'm talking to you is things you're thinking in the back of your mind. You're discussing because you're. I mean, you don't want to do anything to let them get things going their way.
Right, and and that's just it. When when we come out to play them, hopefully we don't make those mistakes that let them in that game and let them keep going. Hopefully we can play our game, control the ball, run the ball, and let our defense, stop those big plays. That's our goal. Albuquerque High, the last 3 years they've really built something good there, and they want to take it away from us. We know that, and so it should be a great game.
You made that point quietly, like you won 2 districts, this could be the 5th year. If you win this game, it'll be 3 districts in a row, and I know but you've done it so quietly, and I've watched you. We've talked on the shows before, and it's pretty awesome to see, going into, that you're the only head coach at Trisco Heritage, and it's kind of neat to see that you've got that program in the right direction.
Well, it's a school and community effort. We have
great athletic director. I'm telling you,
and we
Adrian
share
Ortega.
athletes, and we've always done that. We have a new principal this year, but she's been there as long as Adrian and I have been there, and she's real supportive. And I was telling you before the show, a big change in our program. We've always had a pretty solid program, but the last couple of years, the parent involvement has really made a difference with our program. We have, this year our record hasn't been the best. It hasn't been like years past, but our student body and our parents, we have great crowds, and the kids feed on that. And that's part of the tradition. It's not just, winning district championships and going to the playoffs. It's about who's out there watching you, how they're supporting you, and the community's really starting to buy in, step up, and they're there. And it's just great as a head coach to have that support.
Well, we're going to go to a few sponsors and watch the Dave and Buster's top 10 plays. We're going to come back and talk more about Trisco Heritage football.
All right, thanks, Steve.
We want to fill New Mexico's strength conditioning knowledge gap.
The Athletes Playground was the most overall intense sport-specific training that we had seen.
We specialize in youth performance training, everything from acceleration, deceleration, change of direction, speed, agility, quickness, strength, and power, all the fundamentals that'll actually make a great athlete.
The Athletes Playground had more qualified trainers than where we had gone previously.
We use our summer camps mainly as like our off-season training, educating them on why the benefits of what they're doing. We develop tomorrow's superstars today.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
away from blockers down the right sideline, 50, 45, 40. Gray is going to score his third touchdown of the game unless there's any flags down, and I don't see any. Micah Gray. Ortiz, now he's pressured. He's stepping up. He's rolling to the left. He's going to be brought down. Oh, he's still loose. Look at Drew Ortiz. Unbelievable. Ortiz is going to go to the house. Unbelievable touchdown. Incredible.
Christy May's Restaurant is locally owned and operated with a family-friendly atmosphere. Their array of homemade comfort food is just like your mom's. From homemade chicken pot pie to their famous chicken salad on a croissant, Christy May's even offers lunch catering. Christy May's Restaurant is located at 1400 San Pedro Drive, Northeast. They offer drive-in, carry-out, and catering. Open Monday through Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Before you go viral, make an appointment with Feedy Family Dentistry, now with 2 locations to serve you in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho.
Dr. George Stribling, the ultimate sports chiropractor, is a proud sponsor of ProView Sports. For 34 years, he has been the chiropractor for sports injuries, soft tissue, muscle fatigue, muscle sprains, neck and back injuries. Dr. Stribling specializes in a kinesio taping technique that is designed to facilitate the body's natural healing process while providing support and stability to muscles and joints without restricting the body's range of motion. Sports injuries are Dr. Stribling's specialty.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Patrick Johnson, head football coach at Trisco Heritage. And Patrick, you know, again, excitement, you know, great, good things are happening, and you couldn't be in a better. If you're a coach, you can't be in any better position right now.
Yeah,
because you're a competitor and you control. You have there's no excuses. I mean, you either win or lose.
Right. I'd much rather have it in our hands than having to wait on someone to see if they win or lose. It is more pressure. It's more.
But that's what it's all about.
Part, it is. That's why I coach. That's why I think players play. So it's exciting. You know, we have Albuquerque High, and we win that, and we go to the playoffs, and that's where the conversation starts and ends. And my team knows that, and we know that as coaches. So, you know, Friday night.
An interesting season, though, and you just brought it to my attention. But you know, an interesting season. You know, you have a loss to Oñate, played them very well, and then next week you played Del Norte, and the game gets canceled, and then you kind of had like a. You have a, like I can just tell you how do you keep your kids focused when because you try to get into a momentum, and then you have a bye week and you don't play for almost.
Yeah, it was tough. You know, we were at the stadium, you know, waiting for a couple hours, and they finally canceled that game with Del Norte. We knew we had a bye week the next week, and so it was 3 weeks off after, you know, playing 2 games, and we just started playing well, playing a good game against Oñate. Our defense really stepped up. We had a chance to tie it the last play of the game, and then to have those 3 weeks. So we had to, you know, we didn't play well against Volcano and a really talented team, and then we came back and went to Cleveland. Played a much better game, and then we had Valley, which I'm glad we had those 2 games to get ready for Valley, because that layoff in the middle of the year was a tough test for our team, and we bounced back, and now we have Albuquerque High for the district.
You know,
so.
and I looked at those scores, and if I'm correct, you scored 21 points. I mean, and that was something that concern about. To score 21 points against Cleveland and the team that you played, there was some positive going into district.
Right, there was, and we were at Cleveland, and you know, it's a great environment to play football. It was, you know, the first time a lot of my young guys have seen that sort of atmosphere and sort of the small town, even though it's not that small of a town, but they bring that environment.
Yeah,
and so it was a test for those younger guys, and we played well. You know, we had the lead in the second quarter. But Cleveland, you know, I mean, defending state champs, they're a great team. But we started playing better, and we saw that, and then we went into Valley, scored a lot of points against Valley, needed to that game, and we got that win. So it has been an up and down kind of season for us, but you know, we've won the last 2 games, and we have this game coming up, and so we'll see.
Well, let's go to that Valley clips and watch that. Probably one of the better games of the year. That, I mean, across the board, excitement all the way across. And if you'll do a little bit play-by, help me out here.
You know that we're kind of trading touchdowns a little bit this game with Valley. We have a little bit of a passing game this year, so that was Michael Avidris with the touchdown pass, and
he's starting to come on a little bit, and he's consistent.
He is. That was with 3 seconds left before half. We fumbled and gave up a touchdown. So we really had to test ourselves. That was Neil Smith scoring on that touchdown. He had to play that game at running back, even though that's not his natural position. This quarterback was, you know, Valley's quarterback, a really good scrambler, keeping plays alive. So
a lot of excitement. Game changes. Now they're ahead. It's, you know, you're in the third quarter, and then you have to answer.
Yep. I believe this is Angel Ramirez.
Up and coming running back.
He is. He's played basketball the last couple of years. First year junior playing football in high school, and he's really coming around. And there's Mikey Alvidris again, and he runs the option well and can throw the ball. So we're excited. They're all juniors, so you know, we're looking forward to seeing them progress.
But there's no quit in this game. Everybody just keeps coming at each other.
Right. There was no quit in Valley. It's always a really hot contested game between our 2 schools, and you know, this one was the same way.
I think that's the exclamation point there. But Valley, oh, you got one more.
Right.
That one's the exclamation point.
Yeah.
Right there.
We ended up winning by 10 points, but it was, you know, that game was in doubt all the way the last few minutes, so it was a close game.
Feeling in the locker room at that time.
That we're on our way back to win, you know, winning district. You know, having Valley the first game. In years past, before this, we had them the second game. So, you know, it was a lot of excitement, and real positive environment. So.
And then, if I'm correct, did you play West Mesa the next week? Was that
right?
And was there, because of the youngness, not experience in coming against, was overconfident, or just a good West Mesa team coming in? Yeah.
You know, it was a combination of both. West Mesa, you know, a senior-led team this year, and you know, I just think we were young, and we kind of had to learn the lesson of you know, defending a district championship is not easy. West Mesa came in there wanting that district championship, and I just think it caught our team a little bit by surprise how hard they fought for that game. You know, as a young team, we learned that lesson that, you know, district championships, you know, don't come easy. And West Mesa, you know, came out to win that district championship, and they beat us.
And at that time, there's, you know, ties all over the place, and then, you know, here we have Valley and West Mesa playing, and the winner of that. I mean, at that point, everybody just controls their own destiny. You just got to win out, and then hope, you know, hope the scenario falls in the right place. And again, an emotional game for Judge Chavez and Rob McMath. I mean, guys that have been together for, you know, on and off for 38 years and
Right.
coached together at multiple places. So.
It was, you know, we scouted that game, of course.
0-0 at halftime. I was watching it, you know.
Yeah, I was at that game. It was tough op, you know, by both teams, and of course we were rooting for Valley because if Valley, which, you know, I never say, but, you know, if they won that game, then we knew we would have, you know, our outcome in our hands, and so it was, you know, I believe the final score was 13-7. Real close game, like this district has been, you know, all year. So just a tough district this year. A lot of parity, like you said earlier.
Well, Patrick, when we have, it's exciting to see this all come down. I know you're excited with it, but, you know, this week is then all of a sudden, win or lose, and then all of a sudden the real excitement ends, and that begins, and who's going to win that blue trophy now? Right,
and you know, we got to take care of business and win. You know, beat Albuquerque High, and if we're lucky, or if we do that, then, you know, every year I try to figure out where we fall in that district seeding, or I mean the state seeding process. I think I'm 50% so far. It's tough to figure out. So I'm not even trying to figure that out right now. We're just concentrating on Albuquerque High, and then, you know, wherever we fall, you know, we'll go and play. But we got to beat Albuquerque High to even start thinking about that.
Right, and, you know, that's what's so exciting about this time of year. I mean, your destiny's controlled, but then that comes into the pairing. I mean, if you win the game, then the next thing, who are you going to play, and then there's other games that may determine who you're going to play, and it all comes down to Friday and Saturday day.
Right, and, you know, there's a lot of games this weekend that I guess decide how people are going to be seated. You have, you know, our game against Albuquerque High. You have Volcano and Cleveland. We got Cruces and Centennial down there. All those games are going to impact on how it's going to be seated. So I'm just glad I don't have that job of trying to seed, you know, all these great teams. So.
Well, and we talk about matchups and teams, and, you know, Rio Rancho, I think, is a team that, you know, has set the standard of the team to beat. I mean, they're 9-0. They've beat the defending state champions, Cleveland, and an emotional game. But you know, as you know, there's some things that people don't control as coaches. That's grades. Even though as hard as you work on it, you don't know what kids are going to do, if they're going to come through. Injuries is something that could happen, as it did with Sandia and this year, and probably sometimes with every coach during the year. And then the last one is sickness. I mean, we know we've had a pretty decent year, and nobody's been come down with the flu bug. I haven't heard of any things where the whole team gets sick in 1 week.
And all those things can happen. They're things that are out of a, you know, you as a coach, you try to control grades, as in you motivate your players and you check on them and make sure, but ultimately it's up to them. The rest is pretty much out of your control. And it is, you know, the injuries are a part of football, you know, and any sport you play. So that's tough. You know, hopefully we stay healthy. We've had some injuries this year. We've had, you know, 4 or 5 different running back combinations this year due to injury. But it makes you a deeper team in the long run. So hopefully we'll be, you know, healthy against Albuquerque High, and then we'll go from there.
Well, Patrick, I do believe our time is running out. Am I correct, Alden? So, we went and talked, but I want to congratulate you on your year, and I want to good luck to you in the future, and thanks for coming on the Steve Davis Show.
Thanks for having me, Steve. Appreciate it.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between, Garden Schwartz Team Sales has the products and professional services you'll need to be your best. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Selling your home? Know its value? As part of Greater ABQ Home Realty Service, we offer a free no-obligation market analysis so you can learn the value of your home before placing it on the market. Servicing Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, Placitas, Corrales, and the East Mountain. And we're dedicated to making our clients customers for life. Locally owned, locally focused, Greater ABQ Homes Realty. Contact Tom Schoeneman at 505-821-1234.